everyone. Welcome to Ask a Trucking Recruiter. I'm Indiana Jack, and I will be your host today as we talk about all subjects about recruiting and trucks and all kind of stuff like that. I am Indiana Jack, as I said, and I come from a background of truck driving, 12 years owning my own truck. At first I was a company driver, then I was a lease purchase driver, then I was an owner operator, and now I am a recruiter. This show is not about specifically recruiting you, it's just questions that you should ask an owner operator recruiter when you call them. Lease your truck on with a company, what do you ask them? Who do you call? All kind of questions that you can ask a trucking recruiter. You can ask them right here. Eventually we will have phones and a way for you to call in and talk live, but for now you can email your questions at ask@askatruckingrecruiter.com. Very simple. You can also go to our webpage, askatruckingrecruiter.com, and you can see all of our information there. And I'm really having fun. This is show number 1. Yes, we're going to number each show 1. We're going to do 1 a week, Saturdays at noon Eastern time, so make sure you stay tuned every Saturday. Of course, you'll be watching this probably on a rerun, and that's okay too. Our show today, kind of interesting. I didn't realize this when I was first started as a truck driver, but how many documents does it take a truck driver to pick up a load, let's say from Texas, and deliver it to Illinois? How many documents are required for a truck driver to do that? You will be amazed at how many documents it actually takes. You would think it would be, well, just your CDL and your medical card and that's it, and then you can take off. But that's not the case. We do have questions from people that have been writing in already, and I'm going to answer some of those right here on the show right now. And we'll take our first question. Fred Michelson writes in, and he asks, how old can my truck be to drive for you? Well, that's kind of a carrier-specific question. It would be just, each carrier, it would be different. But I will say in our case, the generic answer for me would be 10 years old. But just between you and I, if your tractor is 10 years old and you just had a rebuild on it, it's almost like new at that point. It is like new, because you know that engine's going to last another 1.5 million miles at least. I mean, you're going to have a lot of other maintenance along the way. But if you've had a rebuild, and if your tractor can take an ELD, if it has a port, an ELD port like for Keep Trucking, then you'd be good to go. Bring your truck here. Of course, we would have to look at it. There would be a lot of other things that go along with that, but that's the generic answer. But every carrier would be different. If you want to go more than 10 years, probably you should do, get your own authority where you can do whatever you want. All right, let's get, that's our first question. Now let's get right into this. Driver documents. How many? We're going to do drivers, then we're going to do trucks and trailers. Those 3 things equal all of the documents that you would need as a truck driver, just rolling down the road, stopping at Flying J. And all the documents it would require for you to be legal. All right. And I'm getting this information right from the horse's mouth. Insert horse's mouth sound effect here. We're looking at a real driver's profile on a program that we use. It's called Falcon. It's a TMS program. TMS, of course, you know, in the trucking industry is Transportation Management System. That's how we keep track of all our documents, and probably the trucking company that you work for has a similar product. Let's start out with the first thing, and these are not in any specific order, okay? These are just how they appear right in this guy's profile. He has bobtail insurance. Of course, you have to have that. Your CDL. We run a DAC report, which is owned by HireRight. I'm sure you've heard of that. The DAC report, and we'll have a different show and shows coming up that explains all of these documents in detail, but today we're just doing the numbers for the fun of it. Okay, DAC report. Then there's a document that you have to sign when you come onto a carrier. You sign that it's okay for us to run all these back reports on you. So that's yet another document. Then there's the drug clearinghouse. That's probably the newest document, I'd say. In case you don't know, every truck driver has to be registered with the drug clearinghouse, and we will do a show on that specific, because that's a huge thing. I mean, and I get lots of questions about that, and I know it's something that you want to know about. So that's document number 4. Then there's the application itself. Yes, it's a requirement that you just can't go working for a carrier. You have to fill out an application even if you're working for yourself. You have to have a record of that. Medical card, of course. We run your MVR. What that is, I'm sure that you know what an MVR is. It's your motor vehicle record. How many tickets have you got? How many accidents have you had, etc. Then there's when we do a check your employers, there's that document. It could be 4 or 5 if you've worked for 4 or 5 carriers, but then there's the verification that you got permission for us to contact your past employees. So that's another document. Yes, all of these are required by who? The FMCSA. PSP. That's checking all of your roadside inspections. And we can't run that until you sign an agreement that it's okay that we run that, and that's yet another document. What are we at yet? What are we at right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're already at 8 documents, if you're keeping track. Okay. Your pre-employment drug test. Pre-employment drug test is 1. Your Social Security card, of course. A voided check, so that we know where to deposit your check. Now, that's not an FMCSA requirement, but we'll include that in. It's a document that you have to have, right? Insurance, your cargo insurance. We provide that, but you have to prove to the DOT, of course, that you have insurance. If you drive a car or a truck, you know that. And then let's get into some other things. The agreement. You have to carry with you, as a truck driver, an agreement, not a truck driver, an owner-operator, an agreement between you and your carrier that you have an agreement with each other. And that's a document all unto itself. I did not know these things, ladies and gentlemen. When I was a truck driver, sharing my trucking stories with you out there as Indiana Jack, I did not know all of these documents that I needed to have. I was one of those guys that just thought I needed a CDL and a medical card and I could just drive down the road. Not true. Then there's your equipment lease. Then there's your regular lease that you're leased on with a carrier. Then there's like if you worked for a company long, or not even long, but you know there's an insurance that insurance that you have to have for if you hurt yourself or something like that. You have to have that insurance. And I don't know why it's slipping my mind that I can't think of it. It's like workman's comp, okay? It's not officially workman's comp, but it's like that. And it's a law that you have to have that with between you and the carrier that you drive for. And the last one for a driver is your Schedule A. I know what Schedule C is. I know what schedule, all the different IRS schedules are, but this is Schedule A, and it's something that you have to have. And we make sure all of our owner-operators have that in their truck, just so that they're legal. 21 documents, just for a driver, 21 documents. Wow, I was surprised when I added them up. I have had a sponsor for all my Indiana Jack channels, all one of them, and that's DAT Solutions. For many years, when I was a driver, when I was out there with you guys, I always relied on DAT Solutions to find me my loads and find the best loads out there on the highway. Thousands and thousands and thousands of loads can you get from the software, which we all know, we all love, DAT Solutions in Portland, Oregon. I always used them all the time because I knew all the loads that were on all of those other load boards were focused in right on DAT. And you could find them right there. If you join today and tell them Indiana Jack sent you, you get 1 month free. Make sure you download they have an app now that you can download for your phone. That will be a future show. I guarantee you'll want to see that. That's sponsor number 1. Sponsor number 2, Traveloko. You know, that's who I work for, have been for the past few years. They're known as what? The carrier where you get 85%. Yes, if you bring your rig over to them, you get 85% of that rate con. Not a fake rate con, not one that's made up, not a filtered rate con, not just what they want you to see, but the real rate con that you sign, you get 85%, and you get to find the loads. If you choose, you can find your own loads, or those guys will find a load for you. They give you an agent, and you can use their agent, or you can find your own load and you still get 85%. Not like some carriers that charge you to use an agent. They do it for free. So call the recruiters there at Traveloko, and I'll put a link to that down below so you can call them on Monday morning. Okay, moving on. Remember that show? How many documents for a truck? How many documents for a truck? This won't be as many. Still, that's enough. So let's go over to my buddy's truck here and see how many documents he has for his truck. A cab card, you know what that is, the registration. It's a requirement that all trucks have to have that. An IFTA document that goes along with your IFTA sticker on the side of your truck, you have to have that. So not only do you have to have the sticker, but you have to have the paper that goes with the sticker. You have to have your inspection, a current inspection on your truck. Those we knew about. And then if you go to various different states, if you go to New Mexico, Oregon, or New York, you have to have each, a paperwork for each of those states, or you have to be registered with their automatic system that counts you as going through their state. You have to have those in your truck. And we're counting those as documents. And that is 5 documents for your truck. Interesting. Question number 2. Thank you for writing in. We had asked ahead of time on some other channels for you to write in your questions, and that's where we're getting these from. D. Ambrose writes, how many years of driving do I need to have to lease on to you? That's a carrier-specific question, but we'll still answer it. I will give you a generic answer. For us, it's 2 years. I would say most carriers would require you to have at least 2 years of driving. And you don't really want to, your first year, go out and be an owner-operator anyway. You got enough to worry about just learning the trucking industry, learning how to pick up a load, how to deal with brokers, how to deal with all kind of things before you actually come onto a carrier and own your own truck. Okay, don't, give yourself time. Like I felt I was ready after 5 years, but that was just my opinion. So thank you, D. Ambrose. I don't know your first name, but we appreciate your writing in and asking that questions. Make sure if you're at home or in your truck right now, you can send us an email at askatruckingrecruiter.com. That's the email address, askatruckingrecruiter.com. That's me, I'm Indiana Jack. And now, how many documents for a trailer? Because this is a series. Truck, our driver, truck, and trailer, right? So now we're on the trailer. Let's go to my buddy's trailer. And this is the least of all. You have to have a registration for the trailer, and you have to have an inspection, a current inspection for that trailer. Now, yes, if you have a load, the officer will want to see your BOL and any other paperwork with that load. That could be a scale ticket too, so there's some more. But we're just calling it 2, even though there could be more. So that concludes all of the documents that you need. See, you're not finding any information anywhere else, only here at Ask a Trucking Recruiter. We do have our final question from you, the audience, and I really appreciate the feedback that we're getting, even though this is our first show. The more you participate with me here, the more information that I can give you as an owner-operator. Amy, a female truck driver. They're really making a move in this industry, I'll tell you. And you're welcome, ladies, too, if you want to write in. Amy writes in, she says, can I drive for you and have my own authority? We are going to do a show about that, Amy. So I'm going to take your question and I'm going to set it aside, and we will start out that show in a couple weeks about having your own authority. But I will answer, the quick answer is yes. You can have your own authority with us, but it's complicated. So I'm going to also say no. So it's a yes-no question. Because if you have your own authority, you can drive for us, but it's really like a sub-company. Using that software I told you about, Falcon, it defines you differently. It's a whole different deal. But yes and no, we'll cover that more in detail. And I promise you, Amy, we'll put your question right on the top so that when we get to that, having your own authority, okay. Drum roll, please. We have no sound effects on this show, none. But if we had some, we'd put a drum roll here. total documents that you need to drive your load of eggs from Texas to Chicago, because they don't have egg factories there, is 28. If you want to round it off to 30 because of the BOL and maybe a scale ticket. Now, a scale ticket, you wouldn't have to have eggs. You wouldn't have to have a scale ticket for eggs, but also the rate con, you don't have to have a rate con, but that has to be included in there. So 28 documents, wow. I never would have thought that when I first started truck driving, and I'll bet you, you know, the average family driving down the road, going by that truck, they don't know he has to have 30 pieces of paper in his truck just to show it's okay for him to drive down the road. But he does. I would like to personally thank you for watching this short video about recruiting and asking a real owner-operator recruiter, and that's me. I'm Indiana Jack. And catch us on the next episode, Saturdays at noon Eastern Time. I'll be right here on this channel. Go to our website, don't forget, askatruckingrecruiter.com. Look forward to hearing from you. See you next time.